Well, good morning to everyone, dear students. Let's start our today's 16th lecture. It will be about modern English lexicology. So today we'll discuss about the main variants of the English language, British English as the national language and its influence on other variants, local dialects in the British Isles, American English and its dialects, major differences of English variants from standard English. So, variants of the language. Every language allows different kinds of variation, old and modern, geographical and territorial, functional and stylistic, written and spoken forms of standard national language. In the modern world of historical, economic, cultural, and political reasons, the English language has spread over vast territories. It is the national language of the United Kingdom, the USA, Australia, New Zealand, and some provinces of Canada. It is the official language in Wales, Scotland, in Gibraltar, and other island of Malta. Spread of English. English is now the dominant or official language in our 60 countries and is represented on every continent. In 4 continents, Asia, Africa, and the Americas, and in the vast ocean, basin of the Pacific, it is an official language in 34 countries. The 2 leading normative models in fostering standard of educated usage are British and American English. Currently, English is de facto the international language of communication, both conventional and digital. Variants of English. In modern linguistics, the distinction is made between standard English, territorial variants, and local dialects of the English language. Standard English, also Oxford or Queen's English, is substantially uniform and recognized as acceptable wherever English is spoken or understood. Standard English is the variety most widely accepted and understood throughout the entire English-speaking world. Variants of English. Variants of English are regional variants processing a literary norm, having the official status of state languages. There are distinguished variants existing on the territory of the United Kingdom. British English, Scottish English, and Irish English. Although there are variants existing outside the British Isles, for example, American English, Canadian English, New Zealand English, South African English, and Indian English. British English is often referred to the written standard English and the pronunciation known as received pronunciation or RP. Besides British English, there are 2 other variants of the English language existing on the territory of the United Kingdom, which have a special linguistic status. They are Scottish English and Irish English. Welsh are known as bilingual speakers, but Welsh words are inserted where English does not have an equivalent notion. Scottish. It has a long tradition of the written and spoken variety. Pronunciation, grammar, and lexis differ from other words of English existing on the territory of the British Isles. It can be explained by its history and aspiration for independence. The identity of the Scottish English reflects an institutionalized social structure as its most noticeable in the realm of law, local government, religion, and education. Peculiarities of Scottish. Semantic fields do not coincide in Scottish and British English. For example, the term minor in British English is used to denote a person below the age of 18 years, while the Scottish law distinguishes between pupils to age 12 for girls and 14 for boys, and minors, all the children up to 18. Words in Scottish English have equivalents in British, for example, blackmail or extortion in Scottish. The influence of other languages, especially Gaelic, Norwegian, and French, for example, Gaelic borrowings include cairn, a pile of stones on top of mountain, the word gate in Dutch. In Scottish, English means road. Some Scottish words understood across the whole country. For example, Dinna, Donut, we, small, Kirk, church, or lassie, girl. The peculiarities of the Irish. Two main political linguistic divisions are Southern and Northern. The further varieties are Anglo-Irish, Hiberno-English, Ulster Scots, and the usage of the two capitals, Dublin and Belfast. The same forms as in British English, but different meanings in Irish language. For example, backward, shy, to doubt, to believe strongly, bored, naughty. The presence of words typical only of Irish English, so called as Irishisms. They go out by God. Variants outside the British Isles. American English is the variety of the English language spoken in the USA. The vocabulary used by American speakers has distinctive features. So typically American lexemes are called Americanisms. Historical Americanisms. For, autumn, to guess, to think. Proper Americanisms, not discovered in British vocabulary. For example, red bed, an American tree having small but light pink flowers. Bluegrass, a sort of grass peculiar to North America. American English, as is well known, the English language was brought to the American continent at the beginning of the 7th century and to Australia at the end of the 18th century as a result of the expansion of British colonialism. The American variant of the English language differs from British English in pronunciation, some minor features of grammar, spelling standards, and vocabulary. The American spelling is in some respects simpler than its British counterpart. In other respects, just different. Some of the spelling differences are shown in the table. So, British English, color, honor, favorite, favorite, censure, theater, censure, theater, catalog, dialogue, catalog, dialogue, realize, harmonize, analyze, realize, harmonize, analyze. Connection, reflection, connection, reflection. Connection, reflection, counselor, modeling, counselor, modeling, encyclopedia, encyclopedia, and others. Lexical differences in American English. Causes where different words are used for the same denotatum. For example, in British, candy, sweets. Cases where some words are used in both variants but are much commoner in one of them. For example, in British, shop, in American, store. Cases where there are no equivalents word is one of the variants derived in used only in American English, denoting a cinema or restaurant that one can visit without leaving one's car. The word politician in British English means a person who is professionally involved in politics, whereas in American English, the word is derogatory as it means a person who acts in a manipulative way, typically to gain advancement within an organization. Derivational and morphological peculiarities, such affixes as stir, super, are more frequent in American English. Drafty, a young man about to be enlisted. Roadster, motor car for long journeys by road. American English sometimes favors words that are morphologically more complex. Transportation or transport. In some cases, the formation of word by means of affixes is more preferable in American, while in British, the form is back formation. For example, burglarize in American and burgle from burglar in British. American borrowings into Britain English. So reflect the historical context of the Americans with other nations on the American continent. Ranch, sombrero from Spanish language borrowings. Toboggan, caribou, Indian borrowings. American shortenings. Door, dormitory, more, movement, third, certainly. The layer of word shared with Scottish English. For example, Ava et al., grit, cry, whip, bre, hew, steep, slow. So, time for see some American slang. Knock, to speak negatively. Pass the back, deflect responsibility onto someone else. Piece of cake, a metaphor word to describe something that too easy or effortless. Pig out, a metaphor for binge eating. Screw up, to make a mistake. Canadian English. Canadian is a variety of the English language used in territory of the state Canada and close to American English. Specifically, Canadian words are called Canadianisms. For example, parquet, a parking garage. Chesterfield, a sofa or couch. To fathom out, to explain. To table a document, to present it. Whereas in American English, it means to withdraw it from consideration. Australian variant of English language. Australian variant is similar to British language, but also borrows from American English. For example, outback, remote regional areas. Walkabout, a long journey of certain length. Bush, native forested areas. Australian English has a unique set of diminutive adjectives formed by adding or to the ends of words. For example, arvo, afternoon, servo, service station, and others. A very common feature of traditional Australian English is rhyming slang based on Cockney rhyming slang and imported by migrants from London in the 19th century. New Zealand variant of English language is a variety of the English language spoken in New Zealand and close to Australian English. Many local words were borrowed from Maori population to describe the local flora, fauna, and the natural environment. For example, names of birds and others. Many local words in New Zealand English were borrowed from the Maori. And here you can see some variants of that. The names of bird, the names of fish, the names of native trees, and many other realia words. South African variant of English variant. So the variety of the English language used in South Africa and surrounding countries such as Namibia or Zimbabwe. It's a mother tongue only for 30% of the wild inhabitants and tiny minority of black inhabitants of the region. It bears resemblance in pronunciation to a mix of Australian and British English. In South African English, there are words that do not exist in British and American English, usually derived from Afrikaans or African languages. Indian English. Many former colonies of the British Empire have developed their own variants of English. The variety of the English language spoken widely in India is sometimes called Indiglish. English learned many words from Indian dialects. For example, sari, bandana, coat, guru, jungle, pandit, Mughal, shampoo, pajamas, and others. So, British English, American, Australian, and other variants of English, they are the variants of standard English. They are variants of some language because they serve all spheres of verbal communication. So, dear listeners, thank you for your attention. Please, you may look out for the other our lecture lessons.